Hi, this is Nancy, and welcome to my Caregiver Journal. Dan and I were able to go away recently for a vacation up in the Adirondack Mountains. And a change this time is over our 32-year marriage. We've gone on lots of trips, we've done a lot of traveling, and traditionally, Dan was our driver. Really, the only times I would drive was when he was going through chemo and was really not able to physically handle it. So on those times I would drive, but normally any kind of trips, Dan would be our designated driver for the whole time. This trip, we started out, and somehow in the first 45 minutes of the trip, I managed to not follow a posted traffic direction, and the policeman behind me decided to pull me over. Very nice, gave me directions to the restaurant we were looking for. When we were done, it all worked out. However, that was the start of my driving, and on this trip, Dan decided that I was going to do all the driving. So it was kind of twofold. I was a little nervous about why he wanted me to drive. He wasn't talking about not feeling well. He wasn't telling me why. He just kept telling me that I could drive. The second thing was, and this is where Dan will tell you he just can't win in life, is normally if I'm driving, it's not a pleasant situation. Dan says that he's helping me become a better driver by giving me some tips, by critiquing my driving techniques, which are not always stellar, but we get everywhere we're supposed to be. This time he was being very complimentary, very quiet, a little muttering under his breath, but nothing bad. And so that made me nervous because now he was having me drive and he was being really nice about it. So finally on the way home, I said, look, what's the deal? Is there something you're not telling me? I'm afraid you're dying or something. And that's where, I get I was just trying to have a pleasant trip, and I wasn't making any bad comments. So it was one of those times where I had to just adjust to this new situation, not create scenarios in my mind that didn't exist, and just be glad for the time that we had together. One comment that Dan made as we were driving around these twisty roads in the Adirondack Mountains, I was fixated on what was in front of me, trying to help us safely make our trip. And Dan was, for the first time in his life, getting to enjoy some of the scenery. And he said, man, I should have done this a long time ago. It's really nice to be able to just look at everything around you. And it made me appreciate the 32 years that I had where I got to sit in the passenger seat and just enjoy the travel, but also be glad that we had the opportunity for me to drive and Dan to be there with me. But again, just to not read into situations, not to overreact to things, and just to be grateful for the time that we had together.